What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new StarCraft 3 video, so let's get into it. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about StarCraft 3 and how to continue the story where Legacy of the Void left off. So let's talk about it. So up to this point, guys, we've made a lot of StarCraft 3 based videos talking about how we can maybe get a StarCraft 3 made, whether that be spreading the movement to Blizzard, talking about these things, at least talking about them, and that kind of becomes an infectious ordeal where lots and lots of people are talking about it, and that's a very important thing when you're trying to start a movement around getting a game made. This is more specific as to the simple fact that where should StarCraft 3 pick up, or should it be something completely new as far as the campaign is concerned? And I believe, guys, that the developers over at Blizzard should not continue the story after Legacy of the Void, but instead do kind of a side story or go a completely new route with it. So something along the lines of adding a new race. We've talked about this quite often on the channel as far as StarCraft 3 content is concerned. Adding a new race like a hybrid race to StarCraft 3 I think would be a very good idea. Of course, leaving it as we've always seen, which Terran, Zerg, Protoss would also be just fine and kind of complete the trilogy, right? But the question is do you continue with the story of Jim Raynor? Would you talk about bringing back Kerrigan? Where does the story go from the end of Legacy of the Void moving onwards? And I just feel, guys, that when we talk about StarCraft 3, I just feel that it does have to be its own thing somewhat, but I also think that as far as the campaign is concerned, the first two games, not extremely memorable as far as those campaigns are, probably because of the voice acting. I'm not sure exactly what it was that didn't really get me into them or as invested in them as some people were. But that being said, I would love to see a different take on it. I would love to see them introduce a new character that you take the helm or that you start beginning to control, and then you kind of go through the story. And of course you do a few expansions once again, and each one would of course track the Terran, the Protoss, Zerg, or a hybrid race, or maybe adding the hybrid race outside of, as a fourth race. Obviously, we could continue the story of Jim Raynor, most likely, more of his adventures and more of his stories. But I just think that maybe what we need to do is go back in time a little bit. If you're going to play Jim Raynor again, maybe you should go back in time, kind of look at more of his past, possibly, go with one of the other Marines maybe. Like I said, I think that there's a huge world to explore here with StarCraft. It reminds me of Star Wars. There's multiple planets. We're talking, different galaxies and such. And I just think that this is a game in which they need to start really building on the lore. Maybe there's something that, the story that we're playing in StarCraft 3 is happening at the same time of Jim Raynor, but it's just on a different planet. It's at a different point in time or with new races and new, units and such. I just think, guys, that they definitely can do it. But I actually think from a standpoint of continuing from Legacy of the Void, I feel that they need to do a side story, or they just need to completely add some new characters that we can start beginning to control, because I just don't know how much more there really is to talk about with Jim Raynor, and of course then you have with Kerrigan. I just think there's so much lore there that you could do, but at the same time I would love to see a different take on it, and hopefully doing like a side story or doing a story that is separate from that of Jim Raynor and Kerrigan. You create more lore, more story that is there, and ultimately you continue building upon the franchise. But I would love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. Would you guys want to see a complete side story in StarCraft 3, or would you want to see a continuation of the main story? Let me know what you guys think. And as always, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and if you did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.